Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Game number 2 between the little one and Mouse's MaNa. This was a 2-game series, and again, game number 1 has already been casted. If you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and check it out on my channel. I won't spoil it yet though for those who haven't seen it, but anyways, game number 2, the little one is playing as the Zerg player, and of course Mouse's MaNa is a Protoss player here, so Protoss versus Zerg here on Xel'Naga Caverns. Should be a nice little matchup. I am looking forward to it, and a little discussion here, a little jazz, a little talk about between these two players. I want to make a little note of something too. For those of you who follow my channel exclusively, thank you very much. I love you guys. I appreciate all that you do for me by viewing my channel and supporting it. But I also want to let you know that I make content for Machinima Realm as well. If that's something that you haven't looked at, I would appreciate it. Any views that I get over there as well, you know, certainly does help the cause. Now, obviously, when those videos are posted on Machinima Realm, they're not going to be updated through your subscription basis through my channel. But I do favorite every video of mine that gets posted on Machinima Realm. So if you take a look at my favorites, you can see my Machinima Realm cast, and just go ahead and take a look at those. It's, you know, the same content essentially. It just casted for Machinima Realm. I'm of course part of their network, so that is why that is taking place. Now we can see here the little one hasn't come out with anything as of yet. We're going to see that pool or expansion, which is happening. Looks like he is intending on going for that expansion, so going to be seeing a quick expansion here from the little one. There we go, dropping it down at 14 supply. Over inside of MaNa's base, seeing nothing but the standard, of course. That is to be expected. Should be seeing an assimilator sometime in the near future, or yes, no, forge. Going to be coming out with a forge. So likely, what we're going to be seeing right now, well, we are likely going to be seeing some cannon harass. That is the probable thing. You can see here moving down with the probe right now. Now, since he's moving to the back end, I'm guessing right here we're going to see a pylon in this area, and then we're going to be seeing some leapfrogging of cannons. So going to be starting off with some cannon harass to try to deny this expansion from the little one. This can, of course, be effective, but at the same time, it's definitely going to set MaNa behind. Now, you can see he's just starting to get some resources, but he's going to be spending those very quickly by dropping cannons and or pylons. So there we go, first pylon going down right there. Now the little one at this moment is fully aware of that, so he's going to want to do whatever he can to take care of it. Moving down right now with a whole bunch of drones, and saying that is very sneaky. MaNa very happy and proud of his efforts there with those double smiley faces. Trying to move into the main there. He does manage to do so. We're going to have this first zealot pushing down right now to try to assist in this cannon harass, and he actually canceled that pylon. So MaNa canceling the pylon isn't going to continue with this cannon harass. I'm a little surprised. That is a real big blunder. Does end up setting him back there. So that's a big issue, to be honest with you. That's really going to set back MaNa right now. Deciding to try to capitalize on the fact that he does have this cannon up, though. Going to be going skilly, he says. Going to be going with this quick expansion and then using the cannons so that it's not a complete waste. He's going to be using the cannons to defend this expansion. So that's a little unfortunate that didn't end up working out for him. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say that's a definite setback. We're going to be seeing the little one push out right now with Zerglings, and he has a big window of opportunity to do a bunch of damage. So far, this cannon isn't even up yet, and he might still sneak into the main base depending on where that second cannon placement goes. Where are we going to see it? No, okay, so coming down with this Cybernetics core, that's going to force the Zerglings through the fire of the cannon before they can move into the main, so good job there by MaNa. However, it doesn't look like, where are those Zerglings? Move forward with that one Zergling, and it looks like, oh no, so instead of trying to push against MaNa right now, in fact, the little one is going to be going for a double early expand. So that first expansion is out. He's going to be killing this high yield and going for an additional early expansion. He knows for a fact that it's going to be quite some time before MaNa is able to push out and be very aggressive. So he's going to capitalize on that, get this early expansion. Going to want to grab the Xel'Naga towers just in case any small pushes do come. He does want to be aware of that. Cybernetics core just about finished right now for MaNa, and is probably going to be coming out with that Warp Gate research very soon, probably right about now. There we go. So Warp Gate research is coming out, but still you can see here just on this one gateway, wants to start working on the Nexus. He's going to start getting that expansion saturated right now, so it's going to be quite some time before he pushes out. Now at this point, MaNa's going to be pulling down. I don't think he sees it at this point, no, so he's not aware fully at the moment that the little one is going for that additional expansion. You can see not a whole lot going on but droning up right now for the little one. That is of course because he's going to be dropping that expansion very soon. There we go, expansion goes down, and he's going to want to drone up and saturate that as well. So this could be a really huge advantage for the little one if he manages to get this up and defend it. He's going to be in a really solid spot. Going to be moving forward with those Zerglings as well, trying to test the water and see what's going on. Here he's going, coming down with that evolution chamber, getting us some upgrades. Also going to allow him to get some spore crawlers just in case his opponent decides to go for Phoenix play, getting that double expand pretty early on. No Zerglings moving into the natural expansion here of MaNa, and going to be doing quite a bit of damage, stopping mining from this half. There are no cannons over there to defend. At this point, MaNa does not have quite enough units, and this Zergling harass is going to be a big problem right now, using the range of that sentry to try to force those Zerglings out of there. So good job there by MaNa. If he can, possibly would want to see another. There we go. So pylon dropping down, so we're going to be seeing another cannon, probably somewhere in this vicinity, obviously within the power field there of that pylon, and that's going to help deter this Zergling harassment. So a little bit nerve-wracking there for a moment for MaNa, but I think he manages to fend that off. The big issue, again, is the fact the little one has this high yield, and that MaNa is just not aware of it whatsoever. He doesn't know those rocks were destroyed, and he has no idea that this hatchery is just about finished right now. More Zerglings moving out. Metabolic boost just about finished. Are seeing that that Carapace level 1 upgrade coming right now as well, so increasing the durability there of those ground units. So that's definitely a nice little added benefit there. Makes them die that much less quickly, and you know, I mean, Zerglings aren't a very strong, robust unit as it is, so having that extra, those extra hit points there, having that extra armor is definitely going to help a lot. It's not extra hit points, but it is extra armor, so there we go. Metabolic boost is in right now. He's going to get these destructible rocks down as little as possible. He's going to want to use this as a second entrance to provide additional harassment, some more entry points for his Zerglings, for those speedlings, just being that much more threatening. And again, nothing really a whole bunch going on. It looks like we are seeing a bunch of Zerglings actually though coming out right now, so he might be planning on a push sometime relatively soon, getting that queen up at that expansion, also going to be dropping that creep tumor before he decides to go for any inject larva. Wants to start spreading that creep. That is, of course, very important, and lots of Zerglings coming out right now. Also going to be taking up to the layer at this point, and having some more upgrades coming up with that melee attack upgrade as well. So Zergling's going to be pushing forward. Going to definitely be seeing an engagement sometime very soon. We're going to see how MaNa is able to defend against this. He does have these sentries for some force fields, trying to move into the mineral line as well as into the main. 2 force fields going down, denying a lot of those Zerglings, actually taking a lot of damage as well from those photon cannons. Zergling's moving forward, going to be trying to surround on that zealot, and then also trying to do as much damage as possible as force fields, preventing those 2 units from MaNa from helping with that engagement. Zerglings are forced to pull back at this point though. MaNa's doing a pretty good job of containing himself here with all his placements, making things a little bit more difficult for run bys and easy for force fields to deny any pushes. So it's not going to be the easiest of things right now for the little one to push into that. And what do we have here? The little one coming out with an additional expansion. So this is a huge problem right now. MaNa just on these 2 bases. Still not a whole lot of army. He does have these 4 warp gates up right now, and there's a Twilight Council, so he does have these 4 warp gates in right now, coming out with this 5th one over here, and there's that Twilight Council. Might be seeing Blink Stalkers, Charge Zealots, and probably even teching up to maybe going for some, you know, looking to get some High Templar or anything like that. Nice little hallucinated Phoenix going to be moving out right now, trying to do some scouting, and at this point I think he's going to start to get an idea of what's going on. Again, I still think he has no idea. Yeah, still no idea about that additional expansion, so he is wondering at this point. MaNa doesn't know exactly what's going on. Going to be using that scout to find out. We do have a Spire coming out right now as well, so he's going to have to pay attention for the possibility of Mutalisk. That is, of course, a threat, and going to be dropping this hallucinated Phoenix right now, but so still no idea about this high yield, and this is a big issue right now for MaNa. MaNa does not know that this high yield has been up and saturated for quite some time, and he obviously has no idea about this additional 4th expansion. So MaNa, you know, not gathering the greatest of intel right now, and kind of going to be putting him in quite a bit of a predicament here. Now we are coming out with this blink research, so he's going to be using the mobility of that blink to try to get around and do some harassment, see exactly what's going on. He does know now, grabbing that Delnaga Tower, that with this heavy creep spread, that there is likely that expansion right there. He hasn't seen it as of yet, but he's going to be seeing it sometime shortly, I think. Moving down with the Stalkers as well. Probably going to be checking this expansion down here, and he might actually be able to take it out, but no, Zergling's pushing forward, taking advantage of those Stalkers moving out. Going to be trying to move into this expansion, but no, force field going down. And again, with this great building placement, making it very hard for Zerglings to run by with those force fields. Stalkers moving down into this 4th expansion of the little one, so it looks like it's going to drop, but not without losses. Lots of Zerglings right now moving in to get a surround on the Stalkers. Stalkers are going to want to try to blink away, but no, not too easy because these rocks are destroyed. So nice full surround going down from the little one. All those Stalkers are goodbye. See you later. Trying to blink away, but no, not without. The Zerglings are going to be able to catch up without an issue, and there we go. So all those Stalkers do drop. Now, obviously, MaNa did manage to take out that expansion, so that did hinder the little one a little bit, but the fact that the little one has had this up for so long, I don't think MaNa has a chance in this game. He is just way too far behind economically. Look at those massive upgrades right now coming out for the little one, and this is a real big issue right now for MaNa. He just is not, I mean, look at his army, not a whole lot going on because he lost those Stalkers. You know, he did invest quite a bit into them, and he lost them without much of an issue, and the little one took almost no losses as a result. He did lose this expansion, but he didn't even have it saturated yet. Didn't lose many drones, and lots of overlords moving out. Going to be spreading a whole bunch of creep right now, increasing the mobility and effectiveness of these units here. Zerglings are going to be much quicker there on that creep. That is quite obvious there. Creep spread going down as well. So whole lot. Look at that. That's just the little one. Let's take a look at the vision right now for the little one. He can almost see that entire map. I mean, that is just bonkers. And the creep spread there, just the mobility is absolutely ridiculous. So really good job there by the little one. And look at the massive amount of upgrades coming out right now. We do have that infestation pit as well as that roach and hydra both out, so we might be seeing a pump out of those units. A bunch of infestors coming out right now for the little one as well. Going to be making use of that fungal growth, trying to place these units in, stop these units in place to allow those Zerglings to get us around, destroying this high yield. And it looks like the little one may be trying to take both high yields, and that would be the most absurd thing I would ever seen. I've never seen a player in one of these games, not a professional player at least, maybe in the lower leagues, but I've never seen a player manage to take both high yields in the center of Zelnaga Caverns. That would be quite impressive. Do we have a drone moving down? I really want to see this happen. Come on, the little one. Impress me, sir. Blink Stalker's moving forward, but so many Speedlings moving out right now. And at this point, MaNa does know what's going on with that observer. He did get a good idea of what was going on around the map, and he realizes at this point, there's a whole lot of issues for me right now. Coming out with his Overseer, gonna allow him to get any cloak detection, probably to get rid of that observer, and just in case there are any DT, he's gonna want to be able to deal with that. And there we go. That destructible rocks are destroyed. So where is that drone? Come on, I want to see that high yield taken. The little one, please take both high yields, and lots of forces right now moving out for the little one. Massive amounts of Zerglings, a few Hydralis, Roaches, and Infestors gonna be pushing in right now, doing a whole lot of damage, trying to move in. A couple of force fields going down. Infestation, gonna be probably seeing some. There we go. Dropping some fungal growth there. Gonna be losing a lot of those drones, probes as a result. And the Colossus is out, so gonna be roasting those Zerglings pretty much no problem. Again, just this positioning of these buildings definitely making it hard for the little one to push in. But the other issue here is that MaNa is not able to expand right now, given the map control and just the total sheer amount of forces right now that the little one has. It's gonna be very difficult for MaNa to expand. But MaNa is gonna be pushing out, trying to see what he can do for damage. He must be wondering how in the world, why are these rocks destroyed? Pushing forward, lots of Zerglings, Roaches, and Hydras. Force fields going down, but not enough. Fungal growth stopping those Stalkers from blinking away, allowing the Zerglings to get a full surround. And that Colossus is still up, roasting those Zerglings, but the Zerglings, Roaches, and Hydralis pushing forward, and just way too many units right now for MaNa to deal with. The little one just had such a huge economic advantage. You can see the fact this army is vastly overpowering MaNa's without much of an issue. Even having some units hang back here, the little one's deciding to just engage with half of his forces and thinks that that'll be enough, and it certainly is. And MaNa wants some PvZ advice because he's having don't try a failed cannon rush, the little one says. That, of course, is great advice. Do not fail a cannon rush. If you do it, at least do it successfully. That little BM there, the little one, but that is really funny. So, yeah, I mean, you can see here the little one just had major map control. He took that high yield expansion, and I think the big issue here for MaNa is the fact that he didn't scout that high yield, and he did nothing about it. You know, it's just really tough. I mean, it's tough to deal with Zerglings on the board, obviously. Makes it a little harder to push out, but I think if he pushed out with, you know, instead of trying that failed cannon rush, or at least succeeding in that cannon rush, if he did, I love this dialogue between these two players. It's very, very entertaining, very humorous. I guess, I mean, a few things I want to say as far as what MaNa could have done. He could have tried to do some drop harass. That, of course, would have been really effective. That always is very effective. Little one suggesting Void Ray Colossus. That obviously would work as well. That's effective. We obviously saw a Colossus on the board, but not quite enough. I think a few more Colossus would have done the trick for him. But anyways, the little one just maintained map control. He got that high yield expansion, took a huge economic advantage, and MaNa, there wasn't really much he could do from that point. The little one constantly harassing with those Zerglings. Although he couldn't push into the expansion for quite some time, he did prevent MaNa from being able to expand himself, and that, of course, is death in this game. If you cannot expand, then you are just in a whole heap load of trouble. So good game between these two players. I'm quite enjoying this discussion between these two. But anyways, yeah, a little one just a little too overpowering in this game for MaNa, so too bad for him. I guess Zerg is the best race according to MaNa, but just look at the sheer amount of forces. I mean, absolutely nothing that MaNa could do. And yeah, I mean, having map control, having an early expansion, having that huge economic advantage, it's gonna be hard for anyone to overcome that. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you let your opponent, if you're on 2 bases and you let your opponent take 4 bases, and a high yield being one of those 4 bases, you can expect to lose every time. It doesn't matter what the matchup itself is. I mean, it could be whatever, PvZ, TvZ, TVP, whatever the matchup is. If your opponent has 2 more bases than you, including a high yield, you're likely to lose the game. especially if you don't respond with any sort of harassment. Like I said, maybe if we had some economic damage, you know, maybe if we saw MaNa being able to do something like using a war prism to drop some zealots or get some DT in the economy and try to disrupt that gathering. But if you let a Zerg player macro up, it's the end of the game. So anyways, guys, good game between these two players. This was a this was a 2-game series, and the little one did obviously win both games. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And as always, keep watching and keep owning. Touch on, you know, opening up with those 2 zealots and the stalker, then going straight for that robotics there, and then getting that observer out. That's going to protect you against early cloak banshees, right? You have the observer, you have the stalker. You could of course get a second stalker in as well, and that's going to help, you know, take out the banshees and the observers, of course, for that cloak detection. But then aside from that, you do have that early game defense from those pushes. Once that warp gate research comes in, and as soon as you get that first entry, you can block off that ramp up until the point that they can get drop ships and drop in your base. You're going to be pretty safe. But from this point, seeing the opponent expand, the next decision is going to be, all right, I need to get that advantage of some sort, because so far nothing's really happened in this game. There hasn't been any major attacks. Nothing's really gone on. So you can do all sorts of things to try to get the advantage, but what we're going to see here is MaNa's going to be using some more prism harass, and this is a